Imagine if you were the author of Kimetsu no Yaiba, and you watched this episode for the first time. Imagine how happy you would be. Just imagine just seeing your child, something you wrote, come to life in such a spectacular way. Not many authors that make manga or light novels really get to see just true beauty in an episode like this. Many either get just poorly, designed episodes, rush production, etc. And it's occasionally you will see a really good anime properly done. My Hero Academia is a really good example of this. But this episode of Kimetsu no Yaiba sets a whole new record. It raises the bar for quality for this show. But it also reminds us who is working on this show. Studio Ufotable is a company that has time and time again shocked many anime fans, myself included. I remember when I first really got acquainted with them when I was watching Fate, and I was just blown away by, just the beauty of Fate/stay night Unlimited Blade Works. And ever since then, they've always just had beautiful anime. The only time I've ever seen them really have a decline in their animation and just beauty within an episode is God Eater. But even then, regardless of God Eater's issues or production issues, it still looked very beautiful. So, it says a lot, really. Studio Ufotable has a really good track record, but it isn't necessarily the studio, but the talent, the people working within the company that really just makes these different anime they work on just shine. And this is one of those episodes. I was at the edge of my seat watching this episode. Now, before I even watched this episode, I was already seeing just how crazy this was. Like, not spoiled, but many were telling me to watch this. And it's been a while since I've seen so many really just straight up say, you gotta watch this, you gotta watch this, you gotta watch this. And there was just so many people mentioning it, I'm like, okay. But then I look on social media, and it's trending. And now I'm not talking about trending in the anime community, but Kimetsu no Yaiba was literally trending on Twitter in the United States. Which is insane. That is major news. That shows that the popularity of this episode was so grand, so high, that it managed to actually trend throughout all of Twitter in the United States. That's big. That's big news. That's really big news. And so, that made me happy. Just seeing that before I even watched the episode, I'm like, man, it really just goes to show how good this episode must be just to see how it is trending like that. Because it's rare to see anime episodes trend like that. It's rare. It happens, but it's still rare. Because Kimetsu, even though it's a good series, I didn't think it would be the series to trend in, the United States. So, I watched it, already aware that this was going to be a good episode. But I was not ready for that final 5 minutes of the episode. That was just true beauty. That was beautiful. Nothing I say can really just describe the beauty of that moment of the episode, the 5 minutes at the end. And that's why I think I really just love Studio Ufotable, or I love the talent within it that works on these series. The whole emotional build-up for that final sequence is really what hit me, and it reminded me of how I felt in the last episode, with seeing Inosuke in his moment to where he thought he was going to die. I talked about it in my last episode review that I got really emotional. When you see Inosuke face this opponent that is overwhelming, and he legitimately is like, I'm going to die, it's over, and you just see him give up, and you saw the movement of his arms go down, It terrified me, because he's a character that doesn't give up. He's always headstrong, and he rushes in. He doesn't care about the consequences. But when you see a character that's kind of like a savage, that doesn't care about how strong someone is, give up, that speaks a lot. And that emotion I had within that episode carried on into this episode, but for Tanjiro. And it fits perfectly with this episode just being so spectacular after the last 2 episodes we got. When you think about it, 2 episodes ago, we had an episode focusing on Zenitsu. And then the episode after that focused on Inosuke. And then after that, this episode focused on Tanjiro, the main trio, the main characters of this story, so to say. And man oh man, Studio Ufotable, they went in. They went in every possible scene they could imagine within this episode. Even the filler in between still frame scenes look absolutely gorgeous, and it's crazy. Like, just some of the still frames. Like, you could take a random picture throughout this episode, and it looks beautiful. An in-between shot. And most in-between shots don't even look relatively that good most of the time, because it's just a flow scene. But that's not the case with this. Getting into the main point of why this episode, I think, is just so good, is because it builds up those emotions of despair. Tanjiro's sword just snaps, and we were left with a cliffhanger like this, and we were left wondering how in the hell is he going to dodge that? How is he going to fight? Even if he dodges, how is he going to fight when his very sword that is meant to take down these demons is broken in half? What is he going to be able to do? Is he going to have to flee and run? And the episode continues from that moment. And you see how he desperately continues to fight. He lets his emotions gain control of him slowly. Even though he tries to keep calm, you can see his emotions really getting the better of him throughout the episode, which fits so well with the contrast of his character that we've seen established prior to this episode. He's always been a character that's able to quell his emotions, keep them quiet to where they don't consume him throughout certain battles, heated battles. And you can see, even though he was keeping calm to the best of his ability throughout this episode, his emotions really did start to get to him multiple times, especially in the moment to when he thought he was going to die. And that is probably the single most best scene of the episode, even over that beautiful moment when he finally took down the demon, which was just, it was so fulfilling when you see that. That moment when Tanjiro sees all the threads around him and he's like, I'm dead. Like, I give up. It's over. That moment speaks so much, because it's rare to see a character act like that, especially in a shonen. Because when you think about the mentality of the demographic of shonen, what it's meant for, it's meant to show that you should never give up against impossible odds. You should always keep strong, keep pushing forward, never give up. That is the fundamental theme of shonen, what it's meant to do. You have it to where the MC breaks impossible odds to prove that things can be done. And even if Tanjiro did overcome it and win in the end, he still gave up, which that meant a lot, which sets a whole different tone to the episode, basically, saying that, yes, people give up, but sometimes you have to pick up the shattered pieces, pick yourself back up to really face the obstacle that's before you and, tackle it in a different way that you've really never done before. And that's what he did. And I love the build-up, the callback to the earlier part of the episode, when it says, when your life is flashing before your eyes, you think back to anything you possibly can to avoid the death that's about to hit you. And when you see that mentioned at the beginning of the episode, it plays so well with that final moment with Tanjiro, where he's like, I'm gonna die. You see his life flash before his eyes, and he thinks back to his father and the dance that he knew, this breathing technique that would allow him to be able to overcome this obstacle before him. And so he had a life or death experience. He legitimately thought he was dead, and he did everything he can to fight back in that moment. And when he did, oh my god, that was, like I said, just an amazing moment, easily the best moment of the episode after, him just realizing it's over or he might be done. Despite him giving up and then finding the courage to stand back up again, what really saved the day for him was his sister, Nezuko. If it wasn't for Nezuko, Tanjiro would be dead. He would legitimately be dead. The story is over. And throughout the episode, I constantly had the vibe that she was going to step in and save him. And the more the episode dragged on, it didn't happen. And I'm like, this is really bad. This is getting worse and worse and worse. And I'm just like, holy crap. He's not going to get any help. He's on his own. Because that's what you would expect. You would expect someone to jump in. That's kind of what's happened in the previous episodes. When you look at, Inosuke and Zen, they had someone jump in to help them at the very last moment. Or to help them before they were about to die. But it didn't happen for Tanjiro. Even though his sister did save him, they both saved each other. It wasn't just one person saving the other, and they were overwhelming. They both had to work together to overcome their opponent, which really makes me enjoy Nezuko's character a hell of a lot more than I did, because she's not a damsel in distress, and she's able to defend herself. She's able to actually stand up and fight, because she revealed a new technique that allows her to use demon blood art that is able to explode blood, which I think is very symbolic in a way, when you think about what blood means to Nezuko. When you think about it, demons have to consume blood, and humans, they have to eat, feed. And Nezuko is the demon that hasn't done that yet. She has refrained from doing that, for she can be normal and not become a pure demon. And so she completely disregards blood. She hates blood in a way. She doesn't want to touch it at all. We know she has to nap to be able to do anything. And seeing how her ability is literally to explode her blood or other demons' blood, like I said, is symbolic, because it's like she's saying, this is cursed blood, I want nothing to do with it, I want to eradicate it, get rid of it completely. That's what she does. So I like the message there. I really love the message of just what her technique really means when it comes to her as a person, a personality, with her being a demon. So the demon that was a part of, like, the 12 Demon Moons, he was a part of the lower 5, which is scary. He was not an opponent that, you know, obviously Tanjiro should have been facing at that moment. He was definitely not ready. He was not ready to face a monster like that. By no means was he. The only reason why he won that fight was not because he was strong, but because the demon truly did not go all in. If the demon would have went in all the way right at the start, he would have been dead. He stood no chance. The overwhelming power of that demon was on a whole other level. So that basically meant that, thanks to circumstances, why he lived. If he would have went serious right at the start and was told, let's say, by Muzan, he would have been dead. So that's the scary part about that, is that this is just a victory for Tanjiro, a big victory, but it doesn't mean that he can easily replicate what he did within this episode very quickly. He's not going to be able to now compete with all the Demon 12 Moons, all that, the lower 5 and stuff, instantly because of what he did. Which, by the way, I do think that Tanjiro is probably going to be out of commission a lot longer than last time. When you look at just the sheer damage he took within this episode, it's way higher than anything we've seen before. Before he even, got into that moment where he thought he was gonna die, he got slammed into a tree and he literally puked up blood, which is saying a lot. That's a big moment. That means that you're having eternal bleeding, which means your ribs most likely have punctured something, or bone has punctured something. It's just overall bad. Then, going one step further, he continues to fight. He gets injured constantly, kicked around, shoved into the ground. He has, just lacerations all over him. He's in bad shape, even more so than the other two. I mean, Zin's in pretty bad shape, but he got the antidote. And Inosuke, he was in bad shape, but he was able to at least stand. But what Tanjiro says, it says a lot more. He says once the breathing technique was over, he is going to be out of commission. He's done. He's legitimately done. He will not get up for a while. So he's pretty much paralyzed. If anyone comes around wanting to mess with him, he's done. Even the weakest of weakest could finish him because of what he just did. So he's gonna probably be down for a long while, which is something I do like about this series, though, because it's what I said before this arc even began, is that I hate how series typically throw aside injuries of characters, because it's annoying. When you're getting in a life or death battle, it sucks that a character just magically heals and their injuries are gone. And that's why I really like this story, is that the injuries stuck around and really give a challenge to the characters to take out their opponent. And so seeing Tanjiro this injured will definitely play into something in the future. It might even leave him with permanent injuries where he's not even able to recover from. Which, by the way, speaking of recovering and all that, it's not just Tanjiro that was injured, it was Nezuko. And Nezuko's injuries, I would say, are probably a lot worse. Well, I don't know, they're comparable with Tanjiro. They are very comparable, but her injuries are really bad. And even though she is a demon, she does work very differently than a normal demon. We know that the way she heals or gains back her strength is by resting. And the last time she really got injured, she rested for 2 years. She was unconscious in a coma for 2 years. So the thing is if Is she about to be unconscious for a long time, 2+ years? Is that what's about to happen in the story? Because that was a lot more damage than she suffered the last time in the story. So, I don't know how that's really going to be able to work around, especially after revealing she has a new demon blood art, the exploding blood or whatever. I wonder how that's going to be tackled. How is she going to heal very quickly, unless Tanjiro offers up some blood or something, which that was something I thought was going to happen. I honestly assumed that Tanjiro was going to offer her some blood to heal her very quickly, for she did not die. I figured something like that might happen, but it didn't. So, yeah, this series continues to impress me, surprise me in every turn, and I see why this was trending. I see why this is a spectacular episode, why many are recommending it to me before I even watched it. It's fantastic. Easily the best episode of Kimetsu no Yaiba to date, and I really doubt it's going to be able to be beat at all for the remainder of this story. But I love you guys. You have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. If you enjoyed my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And if you want to get notified for whenever I upload a video, please click the bell icon down below. And with that, Chibi out.